Hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing good. Today we are here with Sach, the CEO of Paradiso Learning, and we are going to talk about the use case of AI role play in the realm of sales training. Okay, so I believe you definitely have spent hours and hours of time with sales team who are chasing those hard numbers. From your experience, can you let me know what exactly is the issue behind their missing targets and specifically, in the area of training and performance?
Right. So sales training has been the main pain points for almost every organization I have talked to. So actually they don't have problem with sales training. They have really the problem with sales training effectiveness, right? Giving a training is easy. Seeing the sales number pan out and the performance goals are met, that's the hard part. So I have identified about four main causes, and I have talked to leaders from almost every industry in many different countries in the world. So the number one problem with the sales training currently is the sales rep do not get realistic practice for pitching the product, for convincing, for negotiation, all the way through in the sales process. They do not get that realistic practice. Number two, when the sales rep go out and when I analyze their performance by looking at their sales call recordings or numbers, I realize that the failure happens when customer throws a curveball. In other words, customers come up with objections which are not covered in your typical sales training. Even if they are covered, they have probably forgotten the sales rep. This is number two problem. Number three is some sales people outperform the other salespeople, and that could be their skill level, their talent, but part of the reason is the sales training is inconsistent. Depending on when you join the organization, which geography you cover, who is your manager, what's your background, the variations in their preparedness is so much, you cannot just attribute everything to the talent. So inconsistency is the third problem. And the last one, majority, is the onboarding takes too long. See, companies spend millions of dollars in getting the leads. And you cannot hand over these leads to sales reps which are not ready, because the first impression could be your last impression of your brand, your organization. So the sales leader keep postponing getting the salespeople on customer calls, and that's why the onboarding stretches weeks and months, in certain cases years even. And especially if you couple this with the high turn around in the sales profession, it becomes a huge problem for the sales leader. So these are the main problems, four problems in the sales training across all the industries.
I totally agree with you. But however, coming on the last point where you said that, right now sales companies are investing billions of dollars. This is true because not only just less amount of money, they also invest a huge amount of time in training their employees and making them perfect for the sales calls. But still we see the outcome of that investment, let's say time and money, is not very visible. So what can be the reason behind this?
So what happens is they say the four problems I mentioned to you, right? They add up to the ineffectiveness, right? So the sales training budget is not a problem. I think there's enough budget. It's the way you use the budget, right? That's the problem. And some sales leaders think that I just need to give more training. And that doesn't work, right? Like the way Olympic athlete trains and your recreational club player trains, even if they put almost the same amount of time, the outcome is going to be very different. Why? Because of the thing called deliberate practice, right? So you could practice every day, but if you're practicing the same thing every day, you're not going to become the Olympic level athlete, right? The what differs the Olympic level athlete are two things. One is they all all of them have a coach. You will not find a single Olympic level athlete who does not have a coach. And number two, they do deliberate practice. What that means is they practice every day, but they practice different thing every day. They will push themselves a little bit further. They will try different scenarios every day, and that's what builds that endurance and strength and excellence, right? You shoot for 1% daily improvement. So what's happening is the reason the sales leaders are not getting the results is just the repetition is not enough. They need to go towards mastery. And mastery happens when you're doing what I call a GPS kind of training, where you have your start point and your end point, and every day you are zigzagging along the way, reaching closer and closer to that mastery. And then around halfway through the point of mastery, you will start to see the improvements in the performance. And once you hit that mastery level, then at least one aspect of your sales performance is taken care of, which is the preparedness of your team.
I'm totally there with you. However, like when we come to the point of practice, you said that practicing often, keeping on practice improves the the confidence and the training level. But can you define me the kind of practice people are doing right now, the traditional, the manual one, and how exactly what is the modern way of solving the problems which are still coming out of this regular practice?
Right. So the sales training, I mean, any kind of training has three main aspects. I have a framework called KSA: knowledge, skills, and attitude. So a lot of the sales training focuses on the knowledge. If the customer asks you this, say this. If they ask about this product feature, this is how you explain. That's knowledge, right? So what's happening is just knowledge and information is not enough. How you deliver is important. So the most sales rep do not get realistic role play, the practice. That's where the training fails. So what I call over the shoulder training, where your manager is breathing down your neck, literally standing behind your shoulder, that doesn't scale. That's not the most friendly, effective way of training a weak salesperson, right? So a salesperson needs realistic practice where he's fearless in the practice. He's trying different scenarios. He's handling different customer objection in realistic manner without having to get frustrated or without having to feel that he's not good enough. So building that confidence, building that belief only comes when you practice. So what is happening is the traditional role play, the sales trainer, let's say he has 100 people in his batch, 100 sales rep, he can do one or two role play with the sales rep. But now with AI role play, the AI acts like your customer, and with a variety of situations where different contexts, different industry, different customer emotions, different customer objection, the AI can take many different avatars of your customers, your realistic customers. And a sales rep can, at his comfort, 24/7, anywhere in the world, can keep practicing, unless, as I said, they hit towards the mastery. So one is you get a lot more practice ground, you get a lot more reps in a very short time. So that boosts your confidence. And two, what makes any coaching effective is on time, preferably instant feedback. And AI is great at it. Right after you do your role play, you practice with a customer scenario, let's say angry customer, let's say a customer who is in a hurry, a customer who is worried about compliances. You practice with these kind of customer scenarios, and immediately you get a feedback from AI. How was your rapport? How was your knowledge of the product? How was your attitude? How were your listening skills? How were you able
Definitely.
to build the trust? Those feedback, instant feedbacks, makes all the difference.
I think what you have just said has got me a very good question. I think I'd like to put out there for you. Is definitely when we talk about AI, what generally people feels is it's just another SaaS company sales pitch. But what I really want you to know, if you can come up, tell me about this. That let's say if I am a sales trainer or a manager and I have an employee who is not performing that well, especially when he's on the call, if let's say now we change the scenario, we imply the AI role play training. Can you just give me like a short walkthrough of what entire journey of change I could expect, to come outcome from that employee?
Right. So the entire, if I had to talk about the entire journey, right? Right from the day one of the sales rep, when the onboarding is happening, the training is happening, the role play starts, and when the role play feels like you're ready, then your manager comes in and does the final test, if you will. If the manager feels is the rep is not ready, he goes back to practicing, comes back next day or day after. Then once he's ready, now he is right in the field. He's playing the game. Now, what happens is there is another AI which is listening to the sales calls. Like, almost every company records the calls, and there's no compliance issues with that. So the call recording gets sent to the AI, and this AI is monitoring a couple of different ways. It's monitoring the readiness of the salesperson. It's monitoring the skill gaps, and every end of the every day the sales rep is getting a report of what he needs to work on, and this kind of can go on for a week or two. And if the sales rep is not improving, then the manager automatically gets the alert, and this is all done through AI. So there's a conversational intelligence happening right on the call when the sales rep is talking to customer, and then offline when he's practicing, also the AI is observing the sales rep, how is he doing in the nets, in the practice ground, and how is he doing in actual matches. And both of these feedbacks are combined and given to the manager so they can take a corrective action, assign different role plays, or figure out the skill gaps. And that's really how the journey works, right from the onboarding all the way to performance enhancement, real-time coaching.
Okay, so I think I'll ask you a very generic question here right now, which many people also feel. Definitely the idea is really new. It's what modern things and how the modern training should be. But we still, believe that people come from old orthodox mindset. So, are you trying to say that with AI role play training, we don't need the sales managers anymore? Or, I mean, what exactly is the implementation point here? That do we need the role play training, but we also need efficient managers? If you can, just elaborate on that.
Right. So I'm a firm believer in human in loop, right? See, AI alone can get you this far. Human alone can get you this far. But AI plus human can get you this far, right? So there are things where humans are extremely efficient. For example, a sales rep needs motivation. He needs emotional connection. Now the sales manager are too drawn. They're so busy just figuring it out, listening to the recordings after recordings of the call, that they don't get time to do the things which matter, which is the emotional connection, the motivation part, the support part with the rep. So once the AI does a lot of the manual work, a lot of the analysis and practicing, then human work definitely goes down, the human sales trainer and sales manager work. But whatever time they have freed up, they'll be able to use it much more effectively. So you still need the sales trainer, you still need the sales manager, but what you achieve with AI plus human is meeting your sales goal. I have seen companies in 4 or 5 months growing their sales by 300%. I mean, when I say these numbers, sounds like a sales pitch, something made up of. And that's why one single tool in training industry which has rocked the entire industry, is the AI role play. Not just in sales, but in customer support, in leadership, in compliance, in HR, in recruiter training. AI role play has done wonders because it's a completely different mindset. It's a new paradigm of how to give practice to the employees. The keyword here is a practice. That's what was lacking in the entire learning and development for the last 50 years.
For sure, I'm totally there with you. However, I think up till right now in the conversation, we have taken the word practice, quite often time. So when we talk about practice, what exactly is involved in this practice? How this practice, actually turns out to be? Basically, what I'm trying to get out of you, definitely you have been one of the most epitome behind this idea. You have developed and you have seen this, implemented in the real time. So what exactly, when you were developing this, what exactly was in your head? What specific gap were you targeting? Definitely because of considering the term practice.
Absolutely. So I've been in this industry over a decade in the training industry. And as I said, the main pain point for most of the organization is the sales training, right? And earlier, as I mentioned, those 4 issues: inconsistency in the training, lack of practice, lack of customer objection handling, all those. So that has been back of my mind. And we've been experimenting with AI coach for the last 4 years, and we have perfected our models now. So the way this whole workflow works is we analyze your current training calls if you have recordings. If you are a startup, then we analyze your ICP, ideal customer profile, and what you want to convey, the objection. We get all this raw data. We feed that to our model, and this our AI model makes a customer avatar, if you will, represent your customer. But customer not with only one face, the easy customer, the customer who wants to buy now. It has many faces. That's why we call this avatar, right? It can take on different avatars: the angry avatar, the fearful avatar of your customer, the excited avatar, right? So the avatar is paired with all these different scenarios, and that makes you your customer role we have defined. And now once we give this role to the sales manager or your senior salespeople to do some beta testing, to test it out, to test it, to see if there are any gaps in the role. So in second version, we refine the role, we make it perfect, and then we roll out. So when we roll out, the customer will ask some question to your sales rep to see where he stands now. And that's another big paradigm shift where the training has become personalized. If you are giving a training in Las Vegas, 100 sales rep all excited to be in the Las Vegas to get the 3-day training workshop. You cannot personalize your training. It's for the all 100 reps. Some of the reps has been with your company for 10 years. Some have been there for 10 days. So it's extremely difficult to personalize. But with this AI role plays one-on-one, and it asks some questions to your rep and try to judge where he is currently, and accordingly try to push the limit closer to their boundary where they stand. If they stand here, the questions will be here. If they're already here, the questions will be here. So that's called personalized adaptive training. So once we roll out, the sales rep starts playing with this role, practice with it every day, just like you practice in nets or in the basketball court. They practice, they get instant feedback. And then once they're ready for a test, after a couple of rounds of practice, the test is done. That feedback goes to the manager and the journey keeps going. So the training never stops because training doesn't end when the 3-day workshop in Las Vegas is done. That's when your training is done. The sales rep is not ready. He hasn't mastered it. The sales rep's training is done when he has reached the mastery. So this keeps on going even after the sales rep is on the field, because the call gets recorded, analyzed, and weekly basis or monthly basis, the sales rep get the feedback and more coaching.
So, in short, basically, if I say from the perspective of a layman, you have just flipped the entire scenario of training from being this, toxic number chasing to being actually a game, a gamification of it, where you have developed a system that keeps employee interested, to get himself better and better. Because end of the day, they want to get better. And with this system, I think it's really possible now. Plus in less toxic way, apart from those managers.
Yeah, I didn't touch upon that, and you brought a very good point that the sales profession is extremely
Hmm.
stressful,
Yes.
right? And what your team needs is support,
Hmm.
not more pressure. They're already in the pressure
Hmm.
cooker.
Yes,
So
totally.
the sales training becomes a positive environment where the sales training happens in the flow of work. So that's another point I haven't mentioned, that we have these AI bots which are sitting in your Slack or your
Hmm.
Microsoft Teams, where anywhere in between calls, whenever the salespeople are free, they can talk to this AI coach right in the flow of work. They don't need to go to some other website, sign up, and they always forget the password and the link, none of that. It's in the flow of work, right? So, what that does is the sales training becomes more of a joy, more of a positive environment where sales manager know where their team stands. So that reduces the stress on the sales managers. The sales training knows out of these 100 people, who are the 5 or 10 people who needs the most help. So they don't
Hmm.
preach the choir, if you will. They don't preach everybody. The 90 people who don't need the particular knowledge or information, they don't need to repeat and make it boring for those 90 people. But the 10 people who really need it, the sales training are able to focus on it, and your sales
Hmm.
rep is able to practice in a safe manner without having to feel the stress and the fear, and most importantly, the embarrassment, right?
Exactly. So, that hesitation, they definitely, don't allow a lot of people to come forward and tell to their managers that, hey, I didn't understand that, or maybe, I'm not doing that. Okay, I think that's totally point I'm there with you, because this form of training is really helpful because it is focusing on the weaker people like it should, and it is training the stronger and more learned people in the way that they understand. And after a month, we can see that these people, apart from individual talent, they come on the same level of training and knowledge. But I would like to come, to just bring everything to the one point of investment. Every training is a kind of investment and commitment for a company. So, being a CEO or an owner, what exactly can I expect, especially an acceleration to my revenue system if we deploy this role play training?
Right. So we have seen sales grow within a quarter of implementing the AI role plays. And it can range anywhere from 30% increase to 300% increase. And that depends, the variation is because of your sales cycle, the nature of your team, the nature of your current sales training, and the readiness of your data. So the more ideal call recordings you have from the past, more the better FAQ document you have, because all of this data is get fed to the AI model,
Mm-hmm.
right? The AI model is as
Mm-hmm.
good as your training data,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. So it's all over the place, and the first system we deployed was about 2.5 years ago, and just last week I had a kind of catch up over a dinner with the CEO of this company, and he couldn't stop talking about the AI role play and what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So now he wants to take the AI role play not just in sales, but next thing he wants to target is customer support, and then
Mm-hmm.
the customer success manager and recruiters. And he wants to get all the leadership training done by AI. I mean, he was going as far as replacing AI coach, replacing the actual training department. But I told him, you don't want to do that. You want to keep at least some portion of your human trainers, because human and AI is what makes the exponential growth happen. So that's a real example of how the AI role play is changing the entire landscape of sales training.
So, such up till now in the conversations, whatever we have talked about, to be honest, it might, for some people, it might sound too good to be true. Definitely, it sounds like, a pitch to them. But can you provide me, a real-time example of this entire implementation done to a company and what exactly the change came out of it, so that definitely people listening to this would actually understand and expect what they can expect in their training teams?
Right. So AI, this AI euphoria, if you will, right, has some use cases where AI has completely transformed the workflow, and some use cases where it's overblown, right? So people always ask me, show us the numbers, right? Show us where this has been implemented, and not just for a quarter or two, but over a couple of years. So one of the case studies we have is from one of the biggest real estate firms in Middle East, based out of Dubai. And these firms work billions of dollars, and they have hundreds of projects going on in Dubai parallelly, and they get clients all over the world. There could be a billionaire investing in a villa, or a millionaire, or even a middle class from somewhere trying to ask questions. So it's all around, all over the place. The questions, the customer profile, the deal size is all over the place, from a couple of $1 million to $500,000. So that's a great use case. So this real estate company had a problem where not only their sales rep needed to be adaptive to different cultures. So one of the cold call they will get will be from New York, another would be from Mumbai, another would be from Beijing, some government officials trying to invest his money into Dubai. So all over the place, different languages, different customer profiles, different objections. So they needed a system where they can provide a consistent, quick, and effective training to their sales reps to sell these villas and these real estate projects. So we started implementation, I would say, about 2.5 years ago. It took us about 3 months to go live, because there were so many different customer personas, so many compliance guidelines the sales rep needed to know and all that. So we started testing. Beta went live in 2 months. The full deployment happened in 3 months. And so we have a data of about 8 full quarters, 2 years almost worth of data, and we can see their sales effective numbers. So let's start with the onboarding time. It used to take them 8 weeks for their rep to get ready and start handling the calls, the pre-AI roleplay. Now it takes them 2 weeks. You can calculate the ROI.
Yeah, definitely.
Number 2,
definitely.
They have over 1,000 sales reps. And Dubai is extremely compliance-heavy market, being a financial hub, and a lot of the black money flows into Dubai. So the compliance and anti-money laundering and all of those laws and those compliances are extremely important for this company to keep its brand and keep its license in Dubai. So number 2, they had many sales QA, quality assurance people, just sitting and listening to the recording to make sure there is nothing incompliant is being said. So they had, I believe, about 90 people doing that job. And even then, they had been flagged multiple times by the authority because of the compliance failure, even with these 90 people. And now their flags are happening internally. They don't go to the authorities, the red flags, and they have converted this 90 people department in literally 5 people team. So what this AI does is just listening to the call. Anytime there is a compliance failure, when you talk about cash transactions, when you talk about moving money beyond certain amount, right? And every country's compliances are different. So the money coming from China need to be handled differently compared to India or US, because the rules in every country are different, right?
Yeah.
So that now the flags automatically go to the AI, from AI to the compliance department. Of course, sometimes there are false positives, false flags, but that happens even with humans. But overall, they're really happy. So you wanted the number. So this is the number. They got the compliance went up, the cost went down. Now let's talk about the real deal, the closures, right? So they used to have about 35% of their sales rep hitting the quota in the first year, and about 55% in the second year. Now the new numbers I got from them are in their first year itself. In fact, the first 2 quarters itself, the reps are hitting the quota, and almost 90% of them. And the 10%, we looked at the 10%. Why the 10% are failing is, in fact, these 10% were the people who were just doing the job to get the salary, the best salary. They were not really the salespeople. They got into the sales profession because nobody was hiring them. And so there was a failure in the recruitment.
Yes.
So that's why the CEO calls me a couple of quarters ago, and he said, I need to fix my recruitment now with your AI role play. Right? So you could say almost 100% of the willing salespeople are able to meet the quota. And the second year cohort, our first cohort, which has been through this cycle 8 quarters. So every quarter they get a refresher. So that's that cohort, the initial cohort, the foundational sales rep, I call it, they are almost consistently blowing off the quota 2 times, 3 times over their quota. So those are the numbers.
I guess even if what we have talked before, it was not enough for people to believe this, these numbers will definitely give them a real-time expectations of what exactly they can expect out of it. But yet, just to put like they say, the last word to this is definitely if being a company still, I believe that I carry that orthodox mindset that okay, I don't want AI to enter into my training. I want it to keep manual, and having a competitor who is using this exact same method. From your experience, can you tell me where exactly would I feel that the competitor is gaining on me? What definite advantage would the competitor would have if I still stick with the manual training?
Absolutely. See, the companies, when they think about AI and sales, they're deploying the AI in the wrong place. They're deploying the AI to replace the salespeople. And what I have found over and over again, that customers do not like to be called by AI. It's almost like demeaning that, that I am so low value for you that you have your AI call me 10 times a day.
Nothing irritates me more. Yeah.
I was in a market for a new car, and this AI was calling me left and right. And within a second, I could feel it's AI to book a test drive appointment, and it just turned me off. So because of that, so the companies are investing in the wrong place. They get the failure. They take a U-turn. They think AI and sales do not work together. You have to put the AI tool in the right place.
Exactly.
Right? So the way to use AI in sales, the first thing you could do is sales training, AI role play. The second thing, monitoring your sales calls and getting intelligence, what I call conversational sales intelligence. That's so valuable that it has transformed some of the companies. Well, I'll give you another example. One of the hydraulic pump companies,
mm,
been around since 1970s, like been around
mm,
forever. Um, they got an insight about their product and their positioning by AI intelligence, which their sales leader who've been in that industry for 40, 50 years couldn't get. So this AI intelligence works on multiple layers. It not only is monitoring your sales calls for compliance, for call quality, and for coaching. That of course it does. But what it does is it takes all these hundreds of calls data every week, every quarter, and try to build intelligence around it. And the CEO can talk to this, our avatar called Ava. Ava is our sales AI, and ask Ava,
mm,
if I have to change one thing in my positioning, what would I change? What are the customer
mm,
constant complaints customer have about my product, about my pricing? And with this kind of
mm,
intelligence, the CEO was able to turn the ship around. A
mm,
company who have been on a constant revenue for over a decade, he's on a path now to double or triple the revenue with new products, new positioning of their hydraulic pumps. So that's an
mm.
example of how to use AI properly. Don't use AI
Okay.
to do template emails, because especially if you're in customer enterprise sales, if you're a big ticket sales, the other party will understand that, right? That they've been answered by AI.
Yes, totally. I'm totally there with you. I feel like what the only right conclusion that should come out of this discussion is definitely that if you are a salesperson, if you are a CEO sitting inside a room and feeling that why my training is not getting that effective, the thing is that AI can always be the helping hand, but the initiative should always come from the human side. I think that is the right way we can put this down. However, now the point is that a lot of role play models exist. This idea has been tried and tested in the market out there. How exactly the AI role play in the Paradiso LMS stands different from the one that are right now in the market?
Right. So first of all, we've been in training compliance industry for over a decade. So we have all that data, right? So we didn't start with a tool. We start with the entire platform. So the entire platform
Mm,
consists of LMS, LXP, the course catalog with thousands of courses. It has AI authoring tool and manual authoring tool, and it
mm,
has AI coach, AI role play, AI tutor. So it's the single platform, it's an entire ecosystem all connected,
mm,
right? Right from your onboarding, compliance, leadership, sales, customer support, all of that under one roof, one integrated platform. And this platform is integrated with all the major CRMs in the world, all the HRMS in the world, and ERPs, because that's what we've been doing for over a decade. So that's one difference. If you look at other tools in the market, these have been started by companies who wanted to do something with AI. They started with the tool mentality, which can plug into your existing infrastructure. So you have to manage multiple vendors. They don't have enough training data because they started as a startup with zero background in this training field. But we know how the L&D thinks in terms of deployment, because the problem, number one problem of the training department is not the tool, is the learner engagement. You spend so much money and time buying the tool, getting it ready, but the employees don't adopt it. So we have found ways to how do we put the tool in the flow of work. So it's integrated part of your Microsoft Teams or your Zoom or your Slack. So that's another differentiation. We are not a tool, we are an entire ecosystem, we are a platform. Of course, you can start with one single module out of it. You don't have to buy the whole platform. So we have customers who've been just using our LMS for many, many years, and now they have bought our AI role play. Or you can just start with the AI role play just with your sales training. So you can buy that, but you have that optionality of getting the entire
mm,
platform. That's number two. Number three is the AI is as good as the input you give it.
mm,
And because we've been in this industry, we have
mm,
seen success with training, we have seen
mm,
failures with the training. We have
Hmm.
seen many different industries. We've seen many different geographies with thousands of customers. And that serves as an input to our AI role play. Of course, your data stays private. So we don't
Hmm.
use your data to train our models, but
Hmm.
we have that experience and expertise
Hmm.
in-house. We have the
Hmm.
learner consultant, we have the sales trainer, we have our own thousands of courses on sales and compliance.
Hmm. Hmm.
We know how the compliance works. So all of that serves as the input when we build this product. Yeah, so those are the
Uh,
differences.
I think, yeah, you have summed up it really well. And honestly, I feel like instead of running behind every single tool, the best option that you can go for is a system that has all of the tools decided for certain scenarios and cases. And definitely, I feel like Paradiso LMS have a very stronger hand over there. However, to bring this conversation to the end, if you still, from your experience of what you have learned throughout, your years of development and training, where exactly do you see the future of AI role play training? Is it going to be one of the most crucial part of the training playbook, or at the end of the day, is it going to be just optional?
Okay, I feel like this is much bigger than AI course creation, AI based LMS. This is like 10 times, 100 times bigger potential. And
Hmm.
the reason I'm excited is right from your kids'
Hmm.
education to all the way to your corporate training, you could see the implications and the potential in this entire learning life cycle. So I have a 9-year-old, and she has her own AI tutor I have built for her. Called She calls her Indra. So anytime she's stuck, she just says, "Hey Indra, can you explain me the word, some English word?" Or, for example, the other day she wanted to know indulging. What does this word mean? And I tried to explain her, and I couldn't, in her level. So she asked this
Hmm.
Indra, and Indra has been trained to work with 8 and 9-year-old, especially my daughter. So she knows my daughter more than her teachers, because every time my
Hmm.
daughter talks to Indra, Indra's model is getting better, and it's very
Hmm.
personalized to her. So she gives example to my daughter Amora based on what Indra has taught Amora last month. So she said, "Amora, do you remember I had given you that example about papaya, right? So if somebody is eating papaya too much, that's called indulging." So that she's able to
Hmm.
connect. It's very personalized training, right? So you could see how this AI role play, AI tutor, AI coach, the umbrella term will be AI coach, a personalized coach. And AI role play is a part of that.
Hmm.
How that could transform a kid's education, whether it's middle school, high school, up higher education, all the way to we talked for last 20, 30 minutes about sales training, employee training. And what is that's AI coach and AI role play, especially for adults, right? Practice is very important. Like Ben
Hmm.
Franklin said, something like, if you teach me, I will forget, but if you help me use it, I'll remember. Something along those lines, right? So
Hmm.
just telling versus doing it, telling versus
Hmm.
applying it. So the AI role play goes in that area where it's actually applying the knowledge. And when you apply the knowledge, you remember for a long time and you're able to at least use it. So that's the difference with
Exactly.
AI role play. It's application, practice. It's what was missing in our entire curriculum from kindergarten all the way to adult education, and that's why I'm so bullish, so excited about this aspect of AI in the entire training ecosystem.
So I think such we come down to a point where you have very much clearly specified that the best use case of AI only comes after the right implementation of AI. So when we talk about implementation, the companies who are succeeding, doing it right, winning it with AI, what are they doing different rather than those companies who are stuck with AI, cursing AI?
Right. So, I mean, AI role play, obviously, just like any tool, it can be very, very effective, or it could actually be a loss of time and money and investment for you. So, just like any tool, that can happen. So, what I've seen that the companies who do it right, they understand not only its potential, but also its limits. That's very important to know what is it good at, where does it need to work with a human, so they understand the limits, the periphery of this tool. Secondly, they understand that they need to work with the entire platform. If you use it as an isolated tool, it becomes a shiny object which your salespeople will use it for a week or two and then forget. It needs to become part of what I call flow of work. It needs to become part of their CRM. It needs to part of their Microsoft Teams or Zoom, their Slack, their LMS, their compliance training. You cannot do it in isolated fashion. I mean, you can, but I'm telling you, the companies who failed at this, they tried to get some AI tools, some sales rep found something, and he tried to train it himself and tried to do it more like a toy, more like an experiment. And the sales rep did it for a week and then it dropped. You need a proper platform which has a delivery mechanism, distribution mechanism, and analytics, and all integrated with your tools, whether it's Microsoft Teams, whether it's your LMS, whether it's your CRM. If the integration is not there, most of the companies fail at it. The third thing is, you want the leadership to be able to understand the value proposition properly. And they need to have that AI is going to become part of their organization. The question is not just go on an AI roller coaster and just start implementing here and there, but have a comprehensive AI strategy, that where we're going to leverage AI the most, where we're going to leverage our human potential the most. And the leaders who have this vision in the back of their mind usually succeeds much better, because AI journey is not just like that. It's like that. So when there are hallucinations happening, sometimes AI does something wrong that 1% of the time. Your leadership and your middle management and your IT and your partner, who is your vendor, your software vendor, they all need to be aligned as opposed to playing a blame game. They need to understand that AI is not perfect. It will never be a perfect. And neither is human. Neither are humans. Humans are not perfect. But AI is easy to point fingers at. It's hard to point fingers at the human, right? Because it's hard to point who in the chain of humans had done the mistake. In AI, you can just point at the algorithm. In AI, in humans, it could be CEO making mistakes or HR. So it becomes difficult. But my point being, make AI your friend, not something you want to play as a toy. Those days are over. That was 2021. When AI came, there was a toy, there was a, let me ask ChatGPT this, so how I can make it fail. Let me ask ChatGPT to count 1 to 1,000. Those days are over. ChatGPT, the AI, has proven itself over and over again. It is here to stay. It is not a hype. It is a shift in the entire humanity. So you want to be riding the wave and not fighting the AI wave. And this mindset from your leadership team needs to go all the way to your employees.
To the end
and
point,
then
yes.
only your AI role play, AI coaching, whatever AI you implement will be successful. It's a relationship you're building with AI. So every relationships have good and bad times. They have challenges. You have to be willing to work through it and really
Hmm.
get most out of the AI. That
Hmm.
sounds daunting, but at the same time, I'll tell you, it is game changer. If you don't
Hmm.
do it, I guarantee you,
Hmm.
your competitors are already doing it. And before you know,
That's the point. Yep.
it'll be too difficult for your company to change the culture. Culture shifting long time. So you cannot just bring an AI tool and expect it to be successful. It starts with the
Hmm.
mindset, the company culture, the willingness to work with AI and go through ups and downs. So my
Hmm.
advice to you is, if you're listening to this, start today. You're already late, little bit. Most companies started
Yes.
playing with
Yes.
this two
Yes.
years ago, and by now they have figured it out how to make it work the best way. It takes a couple of quarters before you get the hang of it. All right.
Hmm.
So that's all I have for the AI role play for
Yep.
sales.
I guess that was such a fruitful discussion we had over here. Definitely, you have talked us a lot about not just the fact that how AI roleplay should be implemented, but what exactly people are doing and winning using the same scenario. But still, this is what for my personal I want you to share, and that is to all the leadership, especially because the decision is going to come from them to their for the entire team. When they open their phones, when they read the news and they hear the news like AI decided to delete the entire database, at some point a very subconscious fear developed in their secondary brain that says that sales is the one place that has all of the most crucial data of my company. So how exactly they should walk out of that fear, and I really want them to listen this from you.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's the concern is valid.
Hmm.
What if my leads data, what if my pricing data leaks in the internet?
Hmm.
So I'll tell you very nervous kind of fear all the way to the advanced fear. The nervous fear is, if I give data to AI, AI is
Hmm.
going to read my data and spit it out in the chat GPT. That's very
Hmm.
nervous
Hmm.
kind of mindset people have. And of course, if you have a junior developer building some kind of AI tool, he make mistakes, but an enterprise software like us, which has been used by military all the way to the big banks around the world, we have figured out how to keep your data safe and private, not just today, over a decade, right? So
Hmm.
first of all, your data, at least in the Paradiso platform, will never, 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 ever be used to train our models. Your data is only used to benefit your AI models, your employees, your organization,
Hmm. Hmm.
not other your competitors or not other companies. We train our AI models in variety of ways, but never
Hmm.
ever using customer data. That's number one. Number two, your data will stay private, meaning only
Hmm.
the AI bot where you can log in, just like your emails. I cannot see your
Hmm.
email unless I get the
Hmm.
username and password and the OTP. I can log in and see all your emails. Same thing.
Hmm.
Only your AI models, which are used by your employees,
Hmm.
even the employees within your organization who have access to it, will be able
Hmm.
to use and see the data. That's number two. Number three, AI, just like any software, you can put boundaries, which database it has access, which it doesn't. AI cannot just go inside your organization and start fetching the data from anywhere it doesn't have access. It's just a programming, right? So if it doesn't have access to your database, it will never ever touch the database on its own. AI cannot
Exactly.
be going on its own. So, but having said that, it's very important to work with organizations who have SOC 2 compliance, who have ISO compliance, who have GDPR compliance. We also have HIPAA compliance, because we understand the risk involved here for our clients.
Hmm.
So go with
Hmm.
a partner who have this kind of mature ecosystem. Another problem with just getting a tool, you could just go and get a tool which just does AI role play. and then another tool just does your LMS, another tool just do your course authoring. Now all of a sudden you have three different vendors, three
Yes,
different
yes.
stakeholders moving data in and around,
Enough. Data
and you
sharing is
just
there. Yep.
exposes yourself to more problems in data security. So that's another reason why we have one single platform for the entire end-to-end training, from compliance all the way to your exit interviews or recruiters or whatnot, because your data stays in that ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Sach, for this fruitful conversation. And if there's any last word you'd like to share with our audience, we'd totally appreciate it.
Absolutely, you're welcome. And the last thing I would say to the leaders who are listening is don't fear the AI. Find a right partner, find the right use case, start implementing it.